Welcome to the Families Matter Most podcast. I'm Jen Dean. I am a family coach, and one of my favorite things to do is to invite special guests onto the podcast to kind of share what they're doing. So I have Jayna. Jayna, thank you for being here today.
Oh, Jen, thank you so much for inviting me. This is so exciting.
Oh, I am so interested in what you do because I feel like you have things in your wheelhouse that are completely different from most of my work predominantly is with parents, and we do some life coaching for parents. So it's about parenting skills plus taking care of ourselves, dealing with our own emotions, reaching our own goals in the midst of balancing life and home and school and all that stuff. But I'm sure you do some of that, but you also have a unique kind of niche of client. Let me tell you about Amanda Soon. She is the founder of Ember Impact Global, which is a consulting and coaching enterprise. So you do consulting at a very high level and some coaching. Tell us more about this.
Wow. So, Ember Impact Global, as the name implies, Ember is really about being that spark that sets people ablaze in a good way, helping them to really tap into their purpose, into their passions, and how to live that out in their day to day lives. Now, that's coaching and consulting, but at the consulting level, because I hold a Doctor of Medicine degree and I have just completed my master's in medical law and ethics. I really want to focus on the workplace interprofessional relationships. And
Ooh.
so it's really, when we look at ethics, we always think of doctor patient relationships and how the doctor is treating the patient, how the patient is being treated in that healthcare sector. But I want to really take it all the way down to the core of where a lot of the issues begin. And it's in those interprofessional relationships with the
Mm.
doctor physician and doctor relationship with the physician and the nurse, with the physician and the manager and
Yes.
administrator. And so those are the things that I really want to focus on.
So what I'm hearing is you're going to be doing lots of team building, teamwork at a very, very high level. So this is boards, these are administrative teams, these are
Absolutely.
managers. Yes, they need team development too.
Yes, they do. Because if they don't, then they end up with ethical issues that now turn into legal issues and patient outcomes suffer.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for doing the work that you do. So you work at very, very high levels, but what I'm hearing, you're talking about getting to the core of just dealing with people, relating with people, dealing with our own stuff. And
Right.
when you talk about being a spark, that's, I think, the core of it is dealing with ourselves, figuring out how to, reach the next level personally and work
Yes.
on some of the things that are holding us back.
Absolutely. That is correct. And it's important because when we are dull or when we have been deflated, then uh, our spark just becomes really low. People can't see the glow, and then we don't feel that passion and that heat that comes from the spark that we carry. You know,
Mm.
we are the light, and so we carry light when we go into our workplaces, and we bring joy and excitement to other people. And so everybody should take a minute to reflect that they do have something on the inside of them that should
Yeah.
be ignited.
So who is your target client? Who is like the client that, typically would come to you where you spend most of your time working? What does that look like?
You know, it's women who have decided, there's something more to life. And
Mm.
I know it's there. I can't tap it. I can't put my finger on it, but I know something is there and I know I need to go after it. And so, women who may have been transitioning in their lives, who may have had some disappointments or some type of setback, or women who have achieved, reached the pinnacle of what they felt was their careers and felt like,
Mm.
something's missing. But
Right.
how do I get to the next step? And so that those are the women who I work with.
Those women that would look around and say, I've reached all my goals. I've made it to this level in my career. And I always told myself, just get to here. And I did it. How come I'm still not happy?
Exactly. Like why am I not fulfilled? Like what else is out there that I'm not tapping into? Or
Yes.
maybe was it the wrong thing that I was going after?
Yes. What have
Ah,
I done? Yeah.
yes.
This was supposed to fix everything. And we all do
Absolutely.
this. We do this professionally. If I reach this level in my career, if I get this amount of education, or if I lose this amount of weight, if I lose 20
Yes.
pounds, then my life will be perfect. Then I'll be happy. It'll solve all
Yes.
my problems. Well, guess what? You lose the 20 pounds and your problems are still there.
Exactly, because life, until you deal with it, until you have the level of clarity around the vision that you're really going after, until you can recognize possibilities, and until you can harness the creativity that's inside of you, set those strategies, and take some actionable steps, you're not going to get there. So even if you get there, it's like, why did I actually do this?
Yeah.
And I think that's the real issue that most women have. They do things, but did I lose the weight for somebody else? Did I do it for my
Mm,
spouse? Did I do it for my mom, my dad, my friend said you need to lose some weight, but I've done it, but what is lacking? And
yes.
so now we have to tap into that.
So personally, Jayna, what made you decide to become a coach? Because it sounds like you're a fan of education, you're a fan of learning, but what made you kind of go off the beaten path of just more degrees?
I have I I thought about this, and I think I've always been a coach. I've always been a coach without the title coach.
Okay.
As a healthcare professional, to date, I think I've been in and around healthcare for almost 30 years.
Mm,
And that's what you do every day as a registered nurse, because before I got my doctor of medicine degree, I had a nursing degree and I worked as a registered nurse. And what do? You help and you walk alongside patients in order for them to hit their goals. What is it that they want to achieve? How are they going to do it? You are helping them to develop that plan to take them back to that healthy state that they want to be in, or as close to it as possible. And so as a nurse, as a physician, you're always doing that. You're coaching, you're cheering your patients on, you're
yeah.
standing and being helping them to be accountable, and reach their goals. And so the title is something that just came along,
Ah,
but the work has always been done. And I think I've always been engaging in some level of coaching, and not even patients. It's junior staff members who come and
mm,
they want advice, and how do I do this? How do I get to the next level in my career? Why am I not feeling happy about this decision that I've made? And then you're really having those conversations. And I like to consider myself a conversationalist. I talk to people, and in talking to them, they're able to expand and to see all of the possibilities. Because again, we don't know what we don't know. And it's
mm,
until somebody comes alongside us and shed some light, then we're able to
yes.
say yes. Yeah,
Yes. And we all
absolutely.
have things we don't know. You know, the
Absolutely.
best coaches have coaches
Yes.
because we believe in it personally, right? You know,
Exactly.
on
Exactly.
your website and on your material, you talk about being solution focused. And I love that. It was interesting when I was deciding whether to pursue counseling and maybe, get some degrees in psychology or therapy versus coaching. A good friend of mine, she laughed and she said, Jen, you would be a terrible counselor. You would be terrible. You don't want to talk about the past. Like we can talk about the past, but only if it's going to help us move
Move
forward. I'm very
forward.
much, I,
Exactly.
if I had to listen to someone, talk about the past over and over and over again, I would lose my mind. I would say, fine, but how are we going to live now? Like, what are we going to do now? And I feel like that's the solution, goal orientated. The coaching side is very much, how do we move forward?
Yes. And that's why it's solution focused. Because when we look at how we are wired, especially in our brains, so left brain, fight, flight,
Mm,
freeze, right brain, creativity, exploration, we can see things. When we spend a lot of time in our problems, we spend a lot of time in that fearful mode, in that, because the body is trying to keep us safe. That's
mm,
its job. Its
yeah.
job is to make sure we are always safe. And so if there was something that we did that didn't work in the past, it's going to remind you, hey, we did that. We tried that. It didn't work. Why are you going back there?
Yeah.
I'm so
Don't do it.
afraid. Yes, I'm so afraid. And I don't want you to do it because you're going to be hurt and you're going to be crying and so the we have to be able to overcome that. And how do we overcome that? By looking at the solution.
Mm,
Wherever you shine the light, that thing is going to grow. And so if you shine the light on problems, problems are going to be amplified in your life.
yep.
If you target some solutions, that's going to amplify. So one solution is going to lead to another solution, which is going to lead to another solution. And before long, you're going to be out of that space that you thought you would never get out of. And
Uh,
so that's why we focus on the solution aspect as opposed to the problem aspect.
so what are some of the biggest obstacles your clients face? And then what are some of the solutions? Because I know there are listeners that can relate to everything we're talking about. And so let's go over some of the common obstacles, but then let's give them some solutions.
Ah, common obstacles. Um, Minimizing and disregarding their goals.
Oh, yes. Putting themselves last.
Yes. So it's always about the spouse, it's always about the kids, because I want to make sure that there's harmony with the spouse, there's harmony with the kids. And so I don't put myself on the priority list.
Mm.
And I'm so far down that, and I've created this space, and then I'm now bothered that nobody cares about my dreams. They don't know about your dreams because you haven't communicated your
Yeah.
dreams.
You don't even care about your dreams.
Exactly. You don't have a clear vision for your life.
Yeah.
You think that your life encompasses everything that your spouse does, everything that your kids do, and then you get lost in the minutia. And
Yes.
so that is a huge obstacle for women.
Mhm.
And they think they're going to be a bad mom
Yep.
or a bad wife.
Or
And
they're selfish. I
ye-
can't. They feel like if they're not last, then it means I'm going to put myself first and I'm going to be selfish. But why
yes,
does it have to be an extreme? Why can't you be somewhere in the middle?
you can be. And the thing about any relationship, because your life is, it encompasses all of the relationships, and the goal of your life is to build ecology. Everything has to be balanced. And
Mm,
so if you are people, I think there's a narrative out there that says you can't have it all. I disagree. You
oh,
can have it all, and you can create the balance. If I were to say to my kids and my spouse, this is what I'm so passionate about. This is what I love to do. I want to get my hands dirty in this. But when my husband is home from work, I make sure that I have done what I needed to do so that when he comes into the space, he's comforted. He's had a hard day out there. I've had a hard day out there.
Mm,
So I want to make sure my space is a sanctuary for my family. And so I'm not neglecting one to go after the other. And I think that's the key.
mm.
How not to neglect
So it's
one.
possible.
It is possible. There are so many people that are already doing it. So it's not easy, and it's not, nobody says that it's going to be easy, but it's certainly doable. And I think that's where women have to understand, I can do this. I can have a very successful marriage. I raise successful kids, and we can have our time. And I think when we compartmentalize things, then it becomes difficult because we're operating in silos. I'm going to do this for me. He's going to do that for himself. The kids are going to do this. But when we come together and we share our dreams and our visions, we find the commonality and they become a part of a bigger goal, a bigger
Mm.
dream, a bigger vision. And so it's about communication. So the first one, you have to communicate. You have to know what you want,
Ah,
why it's important to you, how is it going to affect all of the stakeholders in your family,
yes.
and what are you going to become at the end of that thing that you're trying to achieve.
Mm.
So it we have to take every aspect of our lives. We have to appreciate it. We have to bring it together. We can't operate separately, just together. Communicate, communicate, communicate.
Mm.
I can't say it enough. Communicate.
That's the solution. But I love what you said. First, you need to know what you want.
Yes.
And I think writing it down. What do you want? Why is it important? Something that I like to do, and I'd love your thoughts on this, is I like to actually go into the negative a little bit. Like, what is the cost of this going to be? Does it mean that you're willing to give up some sleep? Are you willing to give up this hobby for a time so that you can devote more time into this other area? Like, what is the cost going to be? And communicate that with the family too, like with your partner saying, hey, this is what I'd like to do. I'm willing to sacrifice here to make it work because it's important to me. What do
Yeah.
you think? Like, is that a part of the process?
Absolutely. Again, we're talking about ecology, we're talking about the balance. And in order to create a balance, we do it at work all the time. If you ask these women who are out there in the corporate world,
Yes.
don't you have to have buyer stake in your stakeholders have to have buy-in? So
Yes.
how is it that you're not having buy-in in your family? Why are you not taking those things that you're learning and those leadership skills that you have within your workplace and bringing it into your home?
Mm,
I need buy-in. So that means I need to sit down and create, because I have to tell the stakeholders what's in it for them.
yes.
Uh,
Yes. Here's the
so,
cost. Here's the
yeah,
goal. This sounds like a business meeting. Here's the goal. This is our mission. Here's
yes,
the cost. And now
yes.
here's why we want to do it.
Uh, and this is what you're going to get out of it. And
Yes.
you need to know that this is a good thing for you. And
Yes.
so, um, not and you say anytime that you're feeling uncomfortable in this process, come to me first. Talk to
Mm,
me. Let's have this conversation. And again, because we're not communicating with each other. Even for the kids, tell the kids, mom has to do this. This is really important. And I know you don't understand right now, but I promise you, I'm always here for you. And if they come and they have a problem, you have to say, okay, I'm going to shut my stuff down for 5 minutes because I need to address that. And
mm.
so, again, you're not neglecting one thing to accomplish something else.
I love this. I love it. So I know some of our listeners already are inspired to just sit down and write out that dream. What
Yes.
is it that you really want?
Yes.
I think that's great. Is there another common obstacle your clients face?
They lose their passion.
Mm,
They lose their sense of purpose. And I think that um, is also coupled with the fear of moving into something new. It's an unknown. And I remember when I first started in healthcare, they always talked about your patients are always afraid of the unknown
yes.
because they don't know what's going to happen in the next step. And we like to have so much control as human beings. We want to know all of the intricate details before we take step one.
Yes.
And in life, if you do that, you're not going to accomplish anything
Mm,
because life never gives you the entire plan. And
no.
even if you create the most well laid out plan, I assure you, I can tell you from experience, that plan, ha, out the window.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure things out on the fly,
Right.
right?
This is not the life that I planned out. I had my whole life just in a series, on paper. This is exactly how it was going to work. And of course,
Exactly.
it never happens that way.
It never does. But don't be afraid because that's the thing. You have to take calculated risk. And
Mm.
and and I say calculated. I didn't say risk on its own. You have to calculate the risk. Like you said, you think about how am I going to do this? What is this going to cost me? And you can it's okay to do that. It's okay to develop some calculated risk, to write it down and say, okay, this may cost me this, but we'll see how it goes as I move along.
Mm-hmm.
Always allow yourself the opportunity to reevaluate where you are. If you
Mm.
take two steps, you reevaluate and you say, do I still want to be here? Am I still going in the right direction? Okay, this looks good. And then keep going. You'll get to your goals.
What do you think, Jayna? I've heard two different schools of thought on this. There's one that talks about confusion and how we can be confused and lost and legitimately not know what to do. There's another school of thought that says that's a lie. You always kind of know what you need to do next, and you're just afraid to do it.
I would have to say there would have to be something in the middle. Why?
Okay.
Because remember I made the statement earlier, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
And how do you move into something which if you don't know that it exists, how do you know that it's possible for you? And
Ah.
so you can't you it's not a all or none situation. Like you can't be in a complete state of confusion or a complete state of I know it all. There is that middle ground where I may be confused about certain aspects of what I want to do, but I'm really sure about other aspects. And
Mm.
what do I need to add to this situation to help me to lessen the confusion and increase the clarity? And that means, do I need to go and find some support? What
Right.
do I need in order to in order to build that foundation? Do I need to go back to school to do a course? Do I need to go and find a coach? Do I need to speak to a mentor?
Mm.
Do I need to just have a talk with a friend who may be able to again shed some light,
Yes.
because they're going to hear and see things that I'm just not aware of in the moment.
Yep.
And so that's the key. The key is finding that middle ground and keep moving.
What do you think about burnout? because you talked about another common obstacle is that lack of passion and the lack of energy.
Mhm.
And I think about the confusion that comes with that. Oh, this isn't, I thought this would make me happy. I thought this would bring me satisfaction and contentment, and it's not now.
Yeah.
And so then we have this confusion, the uncertainty. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't enjoy everything anymore. And it just seems to be this spiral of burnout that
Yeah.
I'm seeing in the business world. Are you seeing that too in the medical world?
Yes, a lot.
Mm,
Because as the world changes, there's so much more demands on the individual. And how do you you want to continue doing what you're doing, but it's like you're having to do it at a much faster rate. You're having to go all in, because if you're not going all in, people say, you're not serious about this work. We need serious people. And so people think that they have to be like on 24/7.
mm.
That that is such a lie that we tell ourselves.
But
That is
across the
such a lie.
board, this is happening in every field. This is happening everywhere, that we have this expectation that we have to do more, be more, or else.
Yes, but it's a lie.
Mm,
And you know what it does? So of course I love medicine, right? So it's what I call not being able to relax your cortisol. So we know
mm.
that cortisol is always when we're kind of going, when we're in that fight, when that fight, that adrenaline rush. And so
Yes.
and that stress, and we think stress is a good thing. Stress is good in its place, but it's not supposed to be continuous.
Mm,
They're supposed to be bursts, and then so we have troughs, and then we have peaks and troughs, and we go up and down with our cortisol level. But what we're finding is this continuous level of cortisol that is existing at such high levels. And so
mm.
our blood pressures are elevated. And then we're developing high cholesterol. Then we're developing heart disease. Then we're developing diabetes. All of these things are a spin-off from the work that we're doing. You have, in order to really be able to function as an individual at your optimum level, you have to have periods of rest.
Mm.
They didn't say have 7 to 8 hours of sleep just to say have 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Oh,
They
that's just a guideline. That's just a suggestion, Jayna. We don't listen to that.
listen, I understand. And I look back at my younger days and I'm like, how did I only sleep like
I
4 hours and 36 hours and I got 4 hours? How did I do
How
it?
did you do it? I
Now I
know.
want to be to bed by like 7:30. Like, don't even talk to me. I'm ready to go to bed. But
Yes.
at the end of the day, it does have a wear and tear on our bodies,
Mhm.
on our minds, because our even our brains are not being able to rest, to store information properly, because that's what those long hours of sleep are for the brain to rest, for the brain to do its work and be able to sort all of those things adequately and store the memories in the right places, and
Yes.
so that when you need to, you can recall it very quickly. When we get to that place of burnout, then not only do we find ourselves anxious, depressed, physically sick with
Oh,
ail- uh, physical ailments,
yep.
our family relationships suffer, our friend relationships suffer, and then we're right back in that place that my life is just hopeless. I don't know what to do, and stop,
Mm,
breathe, take a walk outside, go to bed on time, pull away from everything. And that's what my journal is really about. If
mm.
you open the journal, it's really empty, as journals should be. It's not a story of my life. It shouldn't be a story of my life. And I love journals that are full of things that guide you along the way. But there's some things that you have to discover for yourself, because
Mm,
those are the things that are going to be lasting in your life. And so that's where you pull away and take those 15 minutes, take those 20 minutes, take the hour, and just sit with yourself and hear your heart.
Jayna, this is so good. And what I'm hearing is kind of my own personal journey too of cortisol and stress and the things that I used to think were just good ideas, like stretching and walking and water and sleep. No, as you get into menopause, as you get into, a little bit being a little bit older,
Yeah,
no, those are really, really important. And I
they
feel like
are.
there's almost this coming back to, I need to find a way to not just make those a good idea anymore. They need to become a practice. They need to become kind of a foundation of my life.
Yes.
And your journal will help women to do that. Tell us more about this journal.
So this journal, I'm going to pull it here. This is called the 7 Week Journal Passion and Purpose. And what it does is it just walks women through just beautiful questions about vision. What is the vision for your life? Reflective questions to sit down for you to answer, not for anybody to give you the answer, but for you to
Mm,
find out for yourself. What are your passions? Because passions are not singular. They are plural. And I know people say, oh, I have this, I'm so passionate about this. Not all passions can be monetized, but it doesn't mean that the passions can't do something that is going to change the world around you.
yes,
And so,
absolutely.
what is your purpose? What is your destiny? How do you feel about your destiny? Where are you going? What is the journey that you're on looking like? It talks about legacy. What do you want
Mm,
to leave behind? What do you want people to know about you? What is that thing on the inside of you that you are passionate about, that you feel is such a purpose for you, that is going to leave a legacy that's going to outlive 4 generations, should the
mm.
world last that long? And then the thing that I love the most is love, because everything we do is about how we love ourselves, and that love is transmitted on to the people that are around us, our spouses, our children, our friends, our family members. If you are not finding that love within yourself, it's going to be hard for you to give that to somebody else. And so, what does that love look like? How do you love yourself enough for you to be the best version of you that the world
Mm.
has ever seen? And then it's really about impact, the impact that you want to leave in the world. And that's what this journal is all about. So it's
Oh,
it's just taking the time to discover who you are,
yes.
what you're here to do, why you're here to do it, and to be, like I said, the best version that you can be.
Mm. So thinking of a busy mom, she's got 3 young kids. She's going back to work, trying to juggle the career and home, and she doesn't even know what she likes anymore. She's saying, Jen, I don't even know what my dream is anymore. I don't have time to sit and think about a dream. What can we say to this mom to encourage her to take some time for that journal, to sit with her thoughts? How can we encourage her to do that and help her to see how important it is?
I think she has to ask herself, and this is where you can go back. What was that, maybe one childhood dream that you had? What did that look like? Why was that so significant for you? And now that you're here, what is it that you want to see? Let's talk about not even 10 years from now. What would you like to see tomorrow? What is your
Mm,
ideal life looking like? Because right now you're in chaos. I
yes.
get it. I have been that mom, right? And so I understand. And I was a mom always. I felt like I was always in school. They called me a professional student at one point. But and so you're always having something to do. But if you can change that one thing about this chaotic life that you have, what will it be?
Mm,
Why do you think you need to change it? And if you fast forward a week from the day that you're thinking about it, what would you want done differently in that week?
yes.
Now, if once you have that picture in your mind, I want you to take steps back. So what steps did you have to take to get to that day? That
Mm,
perfect day, that
yes.
beautiful day. You're sitting somewhere on the beach, I don't know, in Bora Bora, or you're out in the Caribbean, you're flying, you're in Greece, you're somewhere, you're hiking in Banff, you're doing whatever it is you love to do. What did you have to do to get there?
Mm,
And then repeat that step every day. Repeat that. Go a week ahead and say, what would my perfect week look like on this day?
yes.
Everything perfect. That's the beginning.
I think for a lot of moms, the goal is to have that peaceful life, but in the moment, there's just so much chaos
Mhm.
that a lot of the moms that I work with, and I think you would agree that a lot of your clients too, Jayna, the issue is I just want to be more calm. I want to be more content. I don't want to feel so overwhelmed. I don't want to feel so stressed. And all of those things we can do something about right now. Right
Yes.
now, let's
Yes.
work on getting you that big goal.
Yes.
Yes, let's get you to Greece. Let's do that because that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how are you going to get there living this peaceful, dreamy life? Well, let's start with the peacefulness here.
Oh,
What can we do here? And I think 20 minutes, if we can find you
yes.
20 minutes a day,
That's
you
it.
can start.
Listen, you start at increments. If you say, I can't even find 20 minutes,
Mm,
go and find 10 minutes. When you're in the bathroom,
yes.
lock your door. Take a candle in there with you.
Yes.
Even if you have your phone, put it in the corner, put on some nice, whatever music you enjoy.
Hmm.
10 minutes, that's your time. In that moment, you think about you. You love on you in that moment. You sit, you breathe in deeply, you exhale, you don't think about anything in that moment because that's your 10 minutes.
Yes.
After you're done, then you get out and you do what you have to do. And before long, you're going to be stealing another 10 minutes and then another 10 minutes. And so you're going to hide yourself away. Find a space because you deserve to have that space.
Yes.
You don't think that everybody else can have their own time and their own space, but you have to always be on 24/7.
Mm. Yeah, everyone else gets it, but not you. You
Not
don't get
you.
it.
No. And that is wrong. You have to take it. Sometimes it's not given to you freely. So you have to be a little aggressive and you're like, I'm taking 10 minutes, guys. I'm out.
I
I'm
get a
taking,
coffee break. I
yes.
used to, you're reminding me when my kids were younger and I was on an earlier path of this, of trying to work around why do I put myself last? Wait a minute, I matter too. I
Yes.
matter. I'm not the
Yes.
center of the universe, but I'm not like the dirt on the floor underneath someone's shoe. Like I deserve to have some time for myself and I decided that everyone gets a coffee break. I get
Yeah.
a coffee break, and I would bring a cup of coffee or a tea into the bathroom, just like you said. I would lock the door, I would have music, I would have candles, and I would sneak snacks in and I would hide them in the bathroom. So I'd have a little snack area. I would sit on the floor,
Yes.
listen to music cross-legged. The little fingers under the door would be there. Hey, mom, mom, mom. And I would just like block it out. I
Yes.
would think, I get a coffee break.
Yes. And the thing is, the more you do that, the more your family is going to appreciate. It's hard starting off, right? Because they don't understand this sudden change.
Yeah.
Why do you need a coffee break? Yes, you do. Like I didn't
And
take it in the past, but I do now.
yes, and to work through initially all those negative thoughts of,
Yes.
you're a
Guilt.
bad mom, or you're selfish, or, you're putting yourself above your kids, like all these negative thoughts
Yeah.
that we need to work through. That really helps when you have another person,
Yeah.
that you have a coach to work through that. But after that, you're like, no, I get a coffee break.
Exactly. Hey, before long, they'll be bringing you your coffee. Mom, it's time for your coffee break.
Enjoy your coffee break, mother.
Listen, I'm a firm believer that whenever you set the tone for your house, everything else will follow. Everybody will follow once you
Mm,
set the tone. And so, my advice to those moms, set the tone that you want in your house. I guarantee you things will fall into place.
mm, I love it. And I think that's where it starts for so many of us, setting that tone that moms, you matter
Yes,
and your dreams matter. It's time
yes,
to maybe dust them off a little bit.
yes, yes.
Jayna, thank you so much. Jayna Amadasoon is here. She has her own consulting and coaching company. Where can people find out more about you and what you do, and where can they order your journal?
So they can find out more about me on my website, emberimpactglobal.com. And my journal is on Amazon, but if they can go to amazon.ca and just search 7 week journal, passion and purpose. Search my name. They can also just send me an email on my website,
Okay.
send a message. They can reach out to me and I can let them know if they're in the city, then we can work something out. I do keep a few copies with me.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. So people can reach out to you directly. You will get back to them. We can email the author.
Yes, you can email the author.
I love it. Thank you, Jayna, for taking some time to be on the podcast and encouraging the moms, the predominantly moms who are listening to the Families Matter Most podcast. We love what you're doing.
Thank you, Jen. It was great being here today. And I wish all your moms all the best. Find time for yourself. Love
Mm.
yourself. You deserve it.